Man said, "Don't give me no free money."
Man,
what you gonna do with free money, bro?
Come on, man.
What would you do?
Tesla? I'm gonna multiply it. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
I'm
Smart man. AMC.
Possible.
Doge.
Possible. Look, let me sprinkle it across the board a little bit.
Little Doge.
Shibu.
Little Shibu.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah.
Little cum rocket.
Cum rocket. Yeah,
everybody's
that's a stock, everybody.
That's a stock right now.
MILF, you know. Shoot.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here, episode 90s. It's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you.
Right? We were still devastated from the breakup from the JBP.
we needed another week. Guys, ain't happening.
Just not mentally here.
I'm not. You know, we'll get into that later. But that did hit me. I'm sure it hit you guys too.
Yeah,
because you're invested. You connect with them, but.
Bro. It's an emotional roller coaster.
It was.
Yeah, we'll get going on that later. We're going to kick off with happy vibes because
absolutely,
I am
man.
a wed man.
First episode as a married man, man. This man has flowers.
Yeah, I'm here.
Married to the game. And
in the streets.
And now Sam.
People have been asking us, so you got to hang up your escort shoes or what? And Sam's like, I said, I agreed to for richer or for poor, and we ain't doing poor.
Yeah,
for richer or for richer. So
money.
Hey, if anything, the price went up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shout out to Sam. She was very enthusiastic during the vows.
Yeah,
specifically on certain words.
Yeah, she was.
To make it clear,
she was Sam.
She was Sam. Yeah.
I didn't expect anything less.
Yeah,
yeah, and then she was also trying to keep herself from just crying. Yeah, so it was just like giving me certain looks, just to distract herself. Right. From how she really felt.
We saw Joe get a little teary-eyed there for a second.
Yeah. You know it's crazy. So I walked up and I saw everybody and everyone looked so happy, and like I'm a sucker for that. When I see everyone extremely happy, like it gets me teary-eyed, or if I see people extremely sad, it fucks me up. So when I looked back and saw the groomsmen coming up, and then I thought, oh, Sam might be behind that wall.
Mm-hmm.
It got me. Like it hit me. For whatever reason, it just hit me because I'm like, not for whatever reason, but it hit me. And then when she got there, I was like collected. I was good. The tears were like put to a halt. And but my guys look good.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey looked sharp. The fellas. It was an overall great event. I want to jump to what people saw on Instagram. Was Redfoo performing. Shout out to him. Going into the wedding, I invited him and I wasn't going to follow up because he didn't respond to the invitation. Something he's got other shit going on, So then my cousin, like a couple months after inviting, my cousin said, yo, is food coming? I was like, you know what? Let me double check. So I hit him up, yo, did you get the invite? And then he was like, oh shit, yeah, I'll be there. Sent a gift. And so he was there. And I wasn't going to bug him to perform or do anything. It was just like, yo, just happy you're here. But, whatever happens, happens. I didn't want him to do a song.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking he's just here to chill. So then he was on his way out. I don't know what they are right now, girlfriend or working things out.
His wedding date.
Yeah, his wedding date.
Let's put it like that.
Date.
No, the funny thing is he had another date. It was like it was like a friend. And I granted him the +1 just because it's like, I want you to feel comfortable here.
Yeah.
Because he didn't really know anybody outside of like saying hi and bye to you and Phenom and a couple DJs. Sack Noel, obviously he knew Sack. But so I go to say, as I haven't talked to this dude all day, let me talk to him. So we're catching up. He's telling me about Dogecoin and all that crypto stuff. And then shout out to DJ UnieQ in Paris. UnieQ played Party Rock Anthem. So of course everyone looks at him, and we get to it. We take it to the dance floor, and this is like middle of the night, at least from when UnieQ started, and it's just like a 6-minute medley of all the hits, and bonus points to UnieQ because right after Party Rock Anthem he played Juicy Wiggle, which is off Foo's only solo album, and that like. For those that don't know, when you have artists in the building, like sure, you're going to play their hits, but when you know what songs they particularly love and that they hold close, even though they're not a fan favorite, that's a great way to connect with the artist and to get more out of him because, Juicy Wiggle did great overseas, but it didn't do anything in America. So, or nothing great in America. But Foo loved that song. So when he played Juicy Wiggle, I knew Foo would be surprised and happy to do that. And then it was just Sexy, I Know It, Shots and all. So Shots was the last song. And I see Foo waving to the DJ. And we're like 6 minutes in, but it's like a power workout. You know, like everyone's nonstop just dancing. And I wasn't in shape for all that. And I know Foo hasn't performed in 15 months.
Bro, I'm dead.
So he looked like he was dying. His voice was getting raspy. And he's waving to UnieQ. And I'm thinking, and before he even waved, I told UnieQ, like, yo, last song. Like, there's nothing else that these people
Just
know.
before or after Shots?
This is right when he started Shots.
Okay.
I was like, yo, thank you. But last song, like, this dude's going to die out here.
Yeah.
And I see him waving. I'm thinking, okay, cool. He wants to get UnieQ's attention to tell him last song.
Mm-hmm.
So then we performed. Oh.
We did.
No, you did. No, you did.
Shots was performed, and you know, that was it. Fast forward to the conversation with Foo the next day. I said, yo, I told UnieQ to stop because you look like you're dying out there. And he's like, no, I was trying to get his attention to kill the volume on everybody. And I was like, oh shit. So
I was like, that's everybody knows
I read that all wrong.
Yeah.
You know, but no, that performance was just like, it was like the best way to just put a nice little ribbon on the whole
Evening.
Party Rock on the evening, and just like the beginning of Party Rock to the end, because most of the people were there, not all, but most of the people from Party Rock were there. And it was just like one last, you know, Fur got out there. He remembered all the steps. Ryanime from Quest Crew remembered all the steps. They all got out there and did the thing. It was my first time shuffling, first and last time. Yeah, man, I saw you guys had your phones out recording the situation. Yeah. And the funny thing about where to seat Foo was like, all right, put him around people that are like him. So I put him at the DJcity table.
Sure.
And Quickie comes over and talks to me, and he's just like, yeah, we're talking to Foo, and he's being, you know, he's very nice and generous, but he's not really engaging in any conversation. So we're trying to figure out what to talk about.
Yeah.
And then someone mentioned investing, and we couldn't get him to stop. I was like,
shut the fuck up.
Like, that's it. Yeah. Like, you just got to know what these artists are really into.
Yeah.
Like, if you talk about, if you ever spot Foo on the streets, tennis and investing, that's it. And developing apps, coding. That's all you need. You'll have him for the next hour. But yeah, best night of my life. I've experienced some incredible things, and that was just to have everyone under one roof for 48 hours. You know, some people came and went. The families got along. Everyone looked great. If you're getting married, side note, invite people to dress to the theme of the color scheme with you and your bride and your groomsmen and bridesmaids. You know, don't demand it, but invite people to do that, because when you look at the big picture of everybody sitting down, it looks great. The pictures, some of the pictures I've seen look great. There's some people like in their own little world.
I was going to say, is there anybody you had
Yeah, well, Sam, one of her friends came in a red dress, which I guess is like off limits, red and white.
White, yeah.
Because it attracts so much attention to you, right? She didn't appreciate that. And apparently this girl has been married, so she should know better. I gotta shoot I got to, but I don't. My cousins came, one of them came straight from school, and she looked like she came from an arts and craft type of class. And I'm thinking, like, I get it, you're literally coming from school, but you could have had like a dress on, you know, throw a dress on in the back.
You knew you was coming here afterwards, so you could have prepared a little bit better.
Yeah, like just quick stop to the restroom down the hall, throw on a sundress or something. She even had her name card wrapped around her neck, like for whatever she was doing at school. Like, hi, my name.
Damn, I missed this.
So I was like,
we were so caught up in our fly looking section.
Yeah, it's like I felt bad, but there could have been some way around it. But
preparation.
She was there. That was great. Did you guys notice anything else? DJ City guys look fly.
Yeah.
Edwin look fly.
Great.
Yeah.
Styles look like an EDM producer from Europe.
He's stupid. He really
But he looked good though. I was digging the shape.
Quickie snuck
I get
in quick.
the guys that came like kind of more on the casual side still pulled it off. You know what I'm saying? Like Escape was more casual, but it wasn't. I don't think it was out of pocket. He didn't stand out like you said, like Shorty in the red dress or anything like that. But yeah, like you said, I think everybody looked really good, and it was a great moment, man. I said, everyone asked me, how was the wedding? I said, bro, I ain't never seen Joe this happy in my life.
Yo, you couldn't get me off the dance floor.
I was like, I ain't never seen
on the
Joe
dance
this
floor
happy.
more than Sam.
Yeah, you were.
And I told Sam I felt like I was entertaining, like, because, and that brings us to UnieQ and Paris. Shout out to them. And you know, as DJs, man, we can't help, no matter how much we try and distance ourselves from listening to what the DJ's doing, especially when it's the best, happiest night of your life. You can't help but listen to what the DJ's doing, like the 100%. Strategy and the formula and what they're doing. So again, I felt like I was out there to entertain people and keep people dancing, because I know it's hard, especially in a wedding, to get people on the floor, and then after the first 15 minutes to keep people on the floor, and then the rest of the night, it's hard to, just at least the best you can do is keep the vibe good.
Yeah.
So, so what he was doing was incredible. The way he started out, he had the sing-alongs at the right time. And even when people were burned out, the vibe was still right. He played the Latin pop joints, the Karol G's. I saw him try Poison by Belle Biv DeVoe. And instead of going into like another Bobby Brown song or something, I was like, cool, let's go this way. He went somewhere else and it worked. Big props to the song he played after Shots, the end of the biggest part of the night, where people just like, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna go sit or I'm gonna go home.
Yeah.
He followed that up with Prince.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head in that moment, I'm dead tired, but I recognized, I was like, what a great choice. Even Foo the next day was like, yo, that's dope how the DJ followed it up with Prince, because what do you follow up
after that
performance?
Yeah.
Typically DJs bomb after a performance, and I've seen it a number of times with Foo where the next DJ doesn't know what to play. So flowers to him, and he still wasn't even in his biggest bag, because within the last 10, 15 minutes, I'm off to the side and I'm just watching everything, just really trying to soak up whatever's left. And I try doing that throughout the whole day, just soak up as much as you can, be in every moment. And I got my little cup of water and I'm watching everybody. He gets into his Latin joints, the merengue joints, and just sealed it up nicely, because all the girls are out there dancing in their booze. And I'm just like, damn, there's still energy even after the last song. So shout out to him and Paris. Paris did an exceptional job on the mic. And speaking of Mike, Mickey did a good job with his speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's not an easy place to be. Obviously, you know me probably better than anybody, but even when you know everything, it's like to say that in front of.
How to summarize that? Number one, like 22 years or whatever that I said, or we've been through, and all the different moments, all the different situations. Like, man, I had to cut out so much shit.
Yeah,
that's the crazy thing to me, because I felt like your shit wasn't scripted. At everyone's speech, I felt like yours was the least scripted. And
oh no, everybody else pulled out something.
Yeah, well, I mean, not even that. It wasn't even the fact that they pulled out a piece of paper or their phone or anything like that. Because I think you had your phone in your hand, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Here and there. What I did is I just had like bullet talking points. Yeah, like bullet points, and then from there it was just kind of like, all right, like this means a certain story to me, or this means a certain moment to me. Some of that stuff came on the spot, but like, yeah, overall it's just like bullet points. And I remember asking Joe, like, I was like, hey, how much time do I got on the clock?
hey, wrap that shit up, B.
I was kidding, right?
Wrap that shit up, B. Yeah. But I thought your speech, in my personal opinion, your speech was the best one out of everybody's.
It's not a competition.
It's not a competition, because Joe's brother's speech was amazing. Yeah. And Tim did an amazing job.
Yeah, because he told a few stories that no one knew about.
Exactly.
The beat up story was great.
That was hilarious.
Or
the
washing the dryer.
Oh,
telling me to hide in the dryer, and turning the dryer.
And I think that was dope, because I think our experiences with Joe is him always playing the big brother role
in our circle.
In our circle. So seeing him be the vulnerable one and be the younger brother was fucking hilarious. And I'm like, oh man. So I think Valerie's speech was amazing. You know, her
that was so hard for her to do because she like shies away from that moment.
She was writing it the night before when Jenna and I got to the house, to the mansion. She was in the front writing her shit. So when we walked in, we saw her and she was like, oh my God. I was like, you look a little nervous. She's like, man, I'm writing this speech right now. And I was like, you go handle that. We'll go to what you call it.
I'm not gonna lie, I was like a little nervous on Sam's reaction, only because when I opened it up with like, you're gonna get your moment, but this is me. Look, this is me and Joe.
She's like, one last time I'm being put to the side. That's it.
That's it. One last time.
After this, he's mine, buddy.
Yeah, no.
And to seal up the night, it was dope to roast marshmallows by the fire with you guys, your women. Our close friends.
Yeah, my girl loves apparently s'mores are a thing.
That was her second night in a row, just killing the s'mores.
Just smashing
destroying. She was getting mad at me, like, you're not supposed to burn them. I was like, I like mine's burnt.
No, burn.
Yeah, I was like,
we gotta have that conversation at some point. Do you burn the marshmallow?
She was like, babe, you're not supposed to burn them all the way through. And I was like, nah.
Crunch.
That's what I said.
My girl makes them black.
Yeah. Oh, did she?
No, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was your girl that was in your ear.
Listen, I was faded that night.
My girl.
I was faded that night. Yeah, it was my girl. It was definitely my wife.
And my girl just like you had burnt one.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. And then my girl goes in there and burns it even crazier. And I was
exactly.
Like, and you were just like, yeah.
That's how you do it. And I was like, that's right. You're right. I was like, that's how you're supposed to do it.
And we were all drunk.
Yeah, my wife was like, no, you're not supposed to have them burnt like that. And I'm like, that's how I know you white.
Yo, and speaking of drunk, Mickey brought this $300 bottle of tequila.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
My brother was like, yo, where's that bottle? And Sam's family, not your tequila, but my brother my cousin brought a bottle of tequila, nowhere near as expensive. Sam's family figured out where he hid it, or he told them, and that bottle was damn near done by the end of the first night.
Crazy.
So I told Mickey, you got to hide your shit because they're going to come down here looking for alcohol.
Yeah, because your brother came back to me like 2 other times.
Oh, where's the key?
Yo, where's the bottle?
Yeah. Oh, you had the key.
And then I forgot who else was it. Mike, he was like, yo, like, what is that? He texted me the next day. He goes, what's the name of that? And I'm just like, yeah, it's this. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, I don't know, try to bring something special for the toast.
Nah, yeah, that was really good.
Did you guys enjoy the chicken and waffles?
Yo,
yes,
fire, right?
By far the best thing at the.
I was gonna say no disrespect to the main course, but the chicken and waffles.
I said, hey, yo, my man.
I kept looking for him.
I said, come back with a whole tray because the first time we tasted them, it was only like maybe like 3 on the plate, and it was me, wifey, Abner. It was a bunch of us at the thing. So we let the ladies have them or whatever, and wifey gave me a piece of hers. I said, hey, yo, my man, when you get a fresh tray, you come straight here. So sure enough, he came. It was a young dude. It was the young one. He came and we fucking cleaned that shit. Yeah. And I was like, yo, by far, you did good on that one. You did good on that one.
We killed a couple of those, and we were doing our pictures downstairs, and I was ready to knock out after that. We had to pop a Celsius open.
That's funny.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better night. Everything went according to plan. It was perfect, man, and just seeing everybody there was just the best part. So yeah, moving on from that.
Well, let me sneak in here a real quick story. After the wedding.
Okay.
So we jump into the Sprinter.
Oh man!
And I got a situation for it was me and my girl Rel, Jenna, Andy and Melissa.
Yeah.
Was it us just a 6?
It was just us. Yeah. Because DJ and Rocky had bounced already.
DJ and Rocky went separately.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know why, but like, so we had it all set up, and so they're like, I guess DJ and Rocky were hungry, so they wanted to stop by like a drive-through. And then we're like, oh yeah, that sounds great, right? So it's me and Andy really kind of leading the way on this whole like shenanigans
trying
to
go
figure
find
fast food. Bro, it was supposed to be an A to B situation with the Sprinter. And like it was a gift and a curse that the driver is like one of my like he helped me build Mag Park.
Yeah.
Like literally like fucking Neil's assistant.
Okay.
So so we're just like, he's like, yeah, if you want anything, let's go. Like he's like trying to stay away from his kids and wife longer. Like, so he's just like,
I got you, whatever you want.
Where do you want to go? Do you want to go to LA? Fucking we'll go to LA. Do whatever you want. And so, because I've taken him to Vegas and he parties. So he's just driving us around, and then we go to like one drive-thru, close. Next drive-thru, close. Keep in mind, every Google Map says this place is open. Bro, we went to 5 places, and the one place that was open was right next to the hotel.
Oh my God.
And the funniest part
on the back end of the hotel?
It was like a Carl's Jr. off at a plaza.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It was actually right across from where we had breakfast a couple times.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right by the freeway, a little further up. We went to a place called Eggs and Things.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, Carl's was the one that was open, and I was just dying. And then like DJ like called in his order, and it was like, obviously the funny part about all this is like, we're a little inebriated. Like, we had a couple drinks throughout the night. And so, like, trying to figure all this out and, like, get everybody situated was an adventure and a half.
Hilarious.
And we got a picture of you with your pants down playing in the Sprinter the whole time, like, dancing.
Oh, yeah.
That shit was hilarious, bro. I was like, yo, what the fuck?
In that moment, because I realized, oh shit, this is a time in Sexy I Know when we drop our pants, and I don't do the dance because I'm DJing, so I typically keep my pants on.
This is my moment.
But in that moment, it all happened so fast. I'm thinking, shit, do I have the right draws on for this? And then I'm like, well, why would you be wearing anything less than your best draws on your wedding night? Right. Just drop them halfway.
I'm halfway committed to this.
So halfway.
And even Foles he's like doing the song, he's singing, but he's pointing at my hips like, yo, you better drop them things. You know what time it is.
Fool somehow is just ready for that moment at any given time. I think he had a smiley face on his drop.
He did. That's the old 2012 tour underwear.
Jesus.
Let me tell you something. Who will make something last forever? He's like one of those guys who's like a millionaire but makes his money but knows how to make something last for
underwear is that department.
Underwear. Put underwear in there.
You said, oh my God.
It was a good night.
What a great night. Yeah. It was great.
Yeah. So moving on, shortly after that, a few days after that, I had my first gig back in 15 months. And I was out in Whiskey Gardens in Fort Worth. And it was an interesting venue because they got a pool right in the middle of it. So people aren't really dancing because no one wants to get bumped into the pool. Mm-hmm. But there's still a vibe close to the bar and at the tables. So that was an interesting experience because I wasn't sure what the hell these people are listening to now. And I actually say my strategy was give them the familiar stuff off the bat, even if it's old, just give them, give them good energy. And then you can fill out playing Best Friend and All Body, Meg and all that later on. And it actually worked out. I played some of the newer stuff later on and it was a good night. And I thought, and it's always fun to talk to the local DJs in any city because you get to learn the politics and what clubs fuck with who, what clubs don't jive with each other. And it was interesting talking to some of these DJs. Shout out to Aiden Brasher. Shout out to D-Roz. And Joe Vega, who had breakfast with us the morning after. And it's just... And I don't mean to sound like I'm in a bubble because to some degree LA is the same, but it's just interesting that these guys are getting paid, that they're happy with being paid $300 or so and just stacking their gigs for a day. Do from 48, 8 to 12, and you got $600 for the day. And the $1,500 DJ that travels, at least in Fort Worth, like you got one, maybe two options to do your 2 hour set for $1,500 plus not even plus travel, some cases travel, but definitely a hotel room. And it feels like that's where the landscape is going for some of these areas where there's a ton of bars. Like Fort Worth, there is no shortage of bars. Some bars are closing because they thought they can come in and just, create a boom. Not the case. Some bars are opening up. But I thought it was really interesting that this is like the mold for a lot of downtown situations where we're not interested in bringing in the $1,500 guy. We're good with what we have. we can make it happen. We can make it work. In some cases where you have a city full of talented DJs, that can work. But in others, it's not the case. And I'm not going to throw any cities under the bus, but I definitely had those conversations with bookers and DJs where it's just like, yeah, no one wants to spend the money to bring in the talented guy who really knows what they're doing. And then they wonder why some of your venues close early or the music just ain't right. When you went out to Fort Worth, was there did you get that? Like, did you connect with anything I just said in regards to the shift in the landscape and just how Fort Worth is kind of different?
I mean, when I went out there, it was still like, it was the day after Christmas. And I don't know, it felt like everybody's just happy to be working. I think everybody's situation is different, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's a different time. You know, now it's getting to the point where like things are opening back up in respects to what you're saying. Like I think in LA, I think rates are up for DJs because there's a shortage of DJs.
Interesting.
Like, there's a shortage of good DJs.
Good DJs.
Because I had a conversation with a really, close friend of mine that operates a venue, at least when it comes to booking DJs. And he was talking to me and like, let's just say, you know, I would hook him up and do his spot for like $500, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to do 2 hours. And you know, it's in California. It's near where my brother lives, so it's like kind of worth like taking a trip out there so I could go see him and then get paid, you know? And then he was on the phone and basically like they asked about me, like maybe coming back, and then he's like, "Oh, Mickey's retired." And then he goes, "Wait, are you retired?" And then I said, "Man, unless the number is like looking right, like I don't think at the moment, respectfully, like I have a lot of stuff going on. Like I don't think it makes sense because, you know, when I'm out, you naturally want to have a good time, you want to socialize. I end up having a couple drinks. Like it ends up costing me a little bit of the next morning, you know. And obviously I can be a little more disciplined about it, but it's kind of what my vibe is." And so then he said, "I'll give you 1,000." Which is like, all right, like you already I respect that because you just doubled what you used to pay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my only reaction was, "Damn, y'all paying that?" like
paying niggas that the whole time?
Y'all got that? And I still said, "But no, like I wouldn't." Like, and he goes, "What?" And then I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "So what's the number?" And I didn't tell him a number, but I was just like, to me, it was just an eye opener to like where things are like, where they're at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think that's because you're still dealing with a lot of people who like not sure about being out.
Yeah.
You know, like quality DJs are not easy to find. We know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fort Worth is I don't know, man. That the venue that shout out to Chingon, man. They are killing it right now. Mm-hmm. Like they have a line all the time.
And they just open up a back
They have
room.
a second venue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is like I saw it at its like rawest form. And they were using it as more of like an event space. Like I think they have a comedian there, and they'll have like a band. It's got that staged back there, so they've had it very raw to that level. And then when the time was right, they upgraded all the like seating and the bar, and they had enough staff. Because that's the other thing, right? Like when you're opening a new venue in a new city, like you're trusting in a couple people to get you some of the right people, but you can't just find 30 great employees. Like that doesn't just work like that. Part of the problems with my industry is like you got to find a good employee. Like there's a fine line between like good and like sneaky, you know, like and so I think that's part of, you know, why you got to expand at your own pace. But yeah, they got El Chingona now, which is the counterpart to El Chingon.
Yeah.
And I just see them killing it. I think Kev also just now they have a pool party out there.
Yeah.
So
Canvas.
Yeah. And so like, and the vibe there is like, again, when it comes to like the rate, like they're with it. Like they know the bigger picture, right? But yeah, no, I can see. It's a lifelong DJ conversation, right? Like, do you uphold your brand and do the one gig that pays as if you played 2.5 gigs, or do you take 3 gigs, get paid more, but then your brand kind of takes a little shot, like it's a great problem to have.
Yeah, because you'll see guys that look like they took, like, why would you do that to your brand? And then they're doing, I don't know, something like Tao the next week, and you're like, oh shit, I guess it worked for you. And I think that just comes down to relationships. It's like, is my manager's relationship strong enough with these other venues to where I can go and do this venue that's more like a B list and maybe even a C list, and still be able to get that A list the following week or so.
But see, I would say like that's really like right now, I think more than ever is kind of like almost, again, I haven't played out in LA at least. It's like, I don't know what the reaction is, but like, I feel like things have changed, I would assume, in the favor of the DJ. Because like, if I see Dre Sinatra playing Blow the Whistle at Penthouse, like, that's a song that you're like, like, I don't think I'd get a reaction from that crowd, from them, But like, everybody's been cooped up. They'll fucking react to anything. Yeah, it feels like. And I mean, Rel's been out. He's been DJing, and so he can probably say more about it. But Dre's, I think, also a perfect example. Like, a Sam's Hofbrau gig might have not looked like a great gig.
It's a strip club, for those that don't know, in downtown LA.
It's a small strip club. They don't even really show titties, but just so you guys get it.
Yeah.
But they have good food.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a staple, like, kind of brand in the city. But like, you don't even have a DJ booth. Like, you're playing in a controller in a corner, or like sometimes right next to the strippers. And like, it's not a glamorous gig, but that doesn't change the fact that Dre's playing every premier spot in the country and having residencies with Tao Group. Like, that doesn't change his brand. Like, either way, he's getting his money up.
Yeah.
Well, now let me ask this. Do you not take those gigs and continue to build up the brand to where you can get it like Dre, or you can do Avenue one day and then Sam's 2 days later? Or do you play that game, or do you take the Sam's gig, get or take gigs like that, and in hopes to continue to build and get to that Avenue type of booking? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
like, what would you suggest to be the best route?
To each his own. Like, I got an Avenue residency. Actually, shout out to RIP Avenue, by the way. They're not coming back.
They're not?
I just got word.
In LA?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they're done.
So what's that space?
Damn.
I don't know what it's gonna be, but I did find that out recently.
I'm surprised because Highlight Room is still successful. I mean, granted, they're a restaurant, but still,
yeah.
I assume that they're part of the same.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It was weird. I found out. I had a call with
Tao just took over the Hakkasan, so that's interesting. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. Maybe putting their focus in the. But damn, RIP shit.
Yeah, but I would assume I had a different route than a Dre or obviously like any of the scam guys. I'm trying to think who else got in there.
Well, you're a bit of a unique story because you're skilled and you have the leverage with buyers, which 99% of DJs don't.
Yeah. I mean, I got in there with the brand, right? Like with my brand, sorry. Not Mickey Ward, like Mag Park.
Right.
And I think, I could tell the story because it's funny to me because, and shout out to Deb, like she's who really like believed in me.
What's she doing now?
She's now at, what's dude's name? Huge Hollywood promoter with the B, Bolt House.
Oh yeah. I know exactly.
She's
they've been around forever.
Yeah. So I believe she had started with him back in Hollywood. Now she left Tao Group to help him run his stuff, and I think he actually owns all the bungalows, Newport or whatever OC, and then they have one in Santa Monica. So that's where she's at. But shout out to Deb. She really like believed in me and the whole situation. Gave me a shot, like, and honestly, like the main reason I even went for, like, number one, I liked Avenue as a whole. Like, it felt like oh, this is like a premier spot in LA, but it doesn't feel like there's like too many blocks in the way of getting there, right? And so just being there, networking, and then finding the right opportunity with like a Mag Park anniversary party, like a lot of brands pay a lot of money to get their logo put on a screen, or like, you know, put on a flyer, or to give away stuff. They pay for that placement to these venues. So I just looked at it as a way like, well, look, I have some people who are down to come celebrate our anniversary. I think it was a 4-year anniversary. I put together a whole deck where we put together like some merch to give away. We'd have a photographer, videographer. I put a whole like presentation for it, and then I'd like to DJ it. And they kind of like hesitated, and it was a sell. And then we were able to, you know, push it through. I didn't get paid anything glamorous. Like, it was like whatever a normal night rate would be. And the only thing I got extra was that I was able to house a private dinner for like 16 people comped, you know, at Tao. And then we did the event. And then through that event, Deb loved my set, and then built a relationship with them, and they kept bringing me back. And
shout out to Ian.
Yeah, shout out to Ian. Ian really set that up. He and I were on the phone yesterday, actually. He was kind of on the same level of like, so what we doing?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I ain't doing shit. Well, I am. Like, this is what I'm doing. And, you know, if we're going to do anything, it's going to be right, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I think it just, you know, it depends, because here's my one gripe with like my DJ career, and you guys can chime in on how it is. I think Joe's a little better about this than I ever was. But DJs have the most amount of free time with the most amount of fake busy time. So like, because our normal working hours would be, call it 10 to 2, right? With travel or fourth meals expanding into 3, 4, 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like, a lot of DJs don't really start their day or get going till like, what, 2, 3 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that. Like, I remember when I was at Infusion, like, I wanted to do Jack, like, you know, like, as far as like collecting a salary there, I just had to book everybody.
Yeah.
And like, I would be comfortable instead of like operating and doing something else on a day off, on a you know, not have anything scheduled during the day. If I don't have a meeting, like, I'd be chilling.
Yeah.
Like, instead of like finding out new ways to reinvent my brand, go into a different, you know, we talk all the time, like, we all got into investing a little late. Like, imagine we invested into anything in 2012. Like,
sure.
It didn't matter what you put your money in.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's crazy to me, because I think that's still something that happens within the younger DJs, where you're like, oh, I don't have a 9 to 5, so I don't need to work 9 to 5. I'm gonna work 10 to 2 or whatever. Like, and they just don't do anything else. So that's a really long answer to your question about taking those gigs.
Yeah.
And for your brand, I think if you can take a step back, zoom out, and look, and decide if you making $200, $300, $400, $500 on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday night gig, like, does that financially benefit you or your brand more than being home and focusing on how to elevate your brand to get the $1,000, $2,000 gig or $3,000 gig, whatever you want?
Well, it depends if you can afford it.
Right. That's the other part.
Yeah.
Right. So you got your means. You got shit to pay. So like, it's to each their own, I think.
I think something else to look into that probably gets overlooked. Like, so some investing ways is, some people believe when you're investing, you're really investing in your trust in the CEO. Like, where does the CEO come from? What's his ambitions, and can you trust him to get Costco to, you know, be better than ever, or be better, or just whatever. So I think you have to look, if you're going to take those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday gigs, or even just, I guess, any day of the week where the money's the gig may not look flattering or the money may not be flattering, but it's an extra couple hundred in your pocket. I think much like investing in the CEO, what is this owner's ambitions? Is this guy opening up a new venue? Does he have restaurants? How many venues does he own? Restaurants and clubs and bars. What are his ambitions? Because if he's the type of owner that's going to turn, if he's going to turn a small bar, a company that owns one small bar, into a company that owns multiple venues and that can keep money in your pocket and become so cool with you that he gives you a job, he puts you on salary to where you can make money DJing and overlooking this at this venue or overlooking all the venues. I think that's something you need to factor in, because if that's the case, if I'm working with that guy, yeah, I'll do that $200 on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and just hope that this guy continues to keep his head on straight and flourishes. And when you go along with that ride, you're working with the right people, you get taken care of, and you're seen as one of the guys that's being given opportunities. I feel like, we talk about what we talk about the most playfully on this pod. And I think I always bring up Big Night because they're just always the best example for a lot of things. But you take Big Night, when we had Randy on the pod, they had this one venue that him and Buddy used to DJ, Costa. And, years later, he owns 19 venues, and Costa is overlooking some of these things and helping out with the bookings and yada, yada. So, yeah, if Randy told Costa, yo, I can give you these nights, but it's only $100. And Costa says, you know what? I see you growing and creating a monster here. I'm in. I'm thinking long haul with you, as opposed to, oh, how bad would it look if I did this? And if DJs found out my rate, how bad would it look? So I think that's something else you got to consider, is what's the owner up to? And is this something that can be bigger and better than what I can even imagine? Anything else to add to that?
I think it's very unique, right? Because how many Randys are there in the world? Like how many? Yeah,
it's a unique example.
Like
for sure.
It's just one of those things where it's like, I think you'll notice. You got to have your head straight, and then you got to have your head straight enough to recognize that somebody has their head straight. Like it's in there. I would just recommend, like, if you ever do want to go to a venue with a business minded part, right? Like your high belief in your turnout, right? Like I don't believe if you put me on a flyer, I don't necessarily believe that I'm bringing you more general admission people. Like no. I don't feel that. Like I'm not selling tickets, but I might sell some tables. And so, sometimes again, like I might, if I feel very confident, like I might tell you, all right, cool. Give me the rate that you would pay your most affordable DJ, but then this is the percentage I want of every table sale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, and that'll show them, like, who are they to be like, oh, okay, well, now my risk is less and I only have to pay you more if you're successful. If you're not successful, I don't have to pay you as much.
Yeah.
That's fine. But, if you feel not so confident, push for that motherfucker rate. Like, guarantee.
Mickey's.
And your ass end up in a hole like some of these DJs that be trying to pay motherfuckers to go DJ.
Right.
Mickey's table, unique table situation, put that to the side. There is a reason why some of these out-of-town DJs get brought in. Sure, they couldn't sell any more tickets than the local guy, and maybe even tables. But when you put a certain DJ on a flyer, that club is trying to make a statement by putting that guy on the flyer. He's letting the industry know, this is how serious we're taking our club. We're willing to invest in bringing this guy out of town, knowing damn well we have a ton of talented DJs who are capable of getting the job done here. But this is how serious we're taking our company by putting this DJ on the flyer, because we want people to know We think highly of our situation and of our venue. I know a lot of local guys will get upset. He can't do better than me. He ain't better than me. He can't do this. I can do this. Man, this guy barely even DJs. He gets on the mic and screams. That's all he does. Okay, probably all valid points.
Local DJs are typically better than headline DJs.
And yeah, in some cases.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, yeah, and you're right. I see what you're saying. Yeah, let's say 9 out of 10 times a local guy knows his crowd better, knows everything better than the guy that they're bringing in. But there is some power in bringing that guy in.
Yeah.
And the local guys have to understand that.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I hope they do. I hope like you understand there's more to it than just skills. There's the whole look of things. If they bring in a guy that just got done with Tao, Dare, and I don't know, Tao Chicago and Tao Vegas, and they bring him into your city, I bet you're better than him. But there's a reason why he's there and you're not. And you just have to understand why that's the reason. Moving on, speaking of Boston is open. Big round of applause. Shout out to them. Jersey's open. Shout out to our Double Down guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Atlantic City.
Yeah. Connecticut was open on May 19th, but they just had a big weekend of fucking Tiesto, Loud Luxury, and
that shit look crazy.
Crazy.
There was someone else, but man, let me put those flowers to the side and give and 50 Cent. 50 Cent open up, that's what it was. And by the time this airs, they will have had Zed, Diplo, and someone else.
Put that
Rick
PPP
Ross
load to work.
Man, Jesus.
Hey, but let me put all that aside for a second. I want to give flowers to Tiesto. I think it's in our blood as DJs, especially DJs with a hip hop background, to not pay any attention to Tiesto or give him his flowers. This dude is a machine. He is opening up every club in every major city. And I'm looking at these, I don't follow him, but I'm looking at these videos of him. And I'm like, yo, look at these people with their phones. Everyone's phone is out and their phone is on Tiesto like he's God. And I get it. Like the dude manages to stay relevant with the music. He changes with the times. When I was introduced to Tiesto, I think he was in the trance or some shit like that. But when we got into Tiesto, if you remember at Body English in Vegas, he had his own plaque walking into Body. It was like AM had his and Tiesto had his. And the story behind that is they didn't have enough to afford to pay him. So they paid him X amount and gave him his own plaque or silver mixer or whatever it was on the side.
Oh, God.
That's the story. I don't know how true it is. But man, and then Tiesto's got the Zouk residency. Like, wow, this guy is freaking a machine. And he looks like an everyday guy, like the way he hung out with Loud Luxury. He just looks like a regular dude. But shout out to Boston and Jersey and those guys. We're excited to get out there. Shout out to Double Down. They have, and Jason Weiss, he has a residency that he books for now over at the Wood, and they're kicking off end of the month Beat Source Playground Takeover. They're kicking it off with Danny West and ETX, and then it's unfortunate that Jersey only stays open for the summer because everyone goes back to Philly. So that'll last only but so long. But shout out to
because it's on the shore, right?
It's on the shore. Yeah. People go back to New York or Philly or wherever they come from.
Wherever they migrated from.
Wherever they, they're no one from around there.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy to see those guys. And
you're there soon, right?
Yeah, I actually do. I'm doing Kiss Kiss. I think it's June 17th, whatever that Thursday is. And then the Wood on that Saturday, I think the 19th.
Nice.
Yeah. And then any day now, Buddy will hit me with a Grand or Memoir date. Nice. They're just figuring out who they're going to open up with. I'm sure it's going to be Tiesto and Loud Luxury. And Rick Ross. And yeah.
Solid picks.
Yeah. And speaking of Jersey, moving on to Joe Budden and the Joe Budden breakup. Mickey has something interesting to say. For those that don't know, Joe Budden's podcast was streaming like 1 million listeners every freaking episode. It was always a talk of our circle. And it's like if you knew someone that was listening to Joe Budden, you connected with them. And if anyone said they hated Joe Budden, you really wanted to defend, the pod and Joe.
That's fair, yeah.
And, what came from that was Rory and Mal, and in their own right, killing it, even before they left or got fired, whatever it worked out. Rory had his Duce Palooza and was killing it. And I really still don't really know what Mal does, but everyone in the industry loves him, so I take it.
The glorified middleman.
That, yeah, just that dude that everyone loves, and there's money in that.
Yeah.
So Mickey had said something interesting in the chat. He said, I'm boycotting JBP.
No, he said, who's
are we boycotting?
Are we? Oh, okay.
And I didn't get a chance to respond.
You told me you were boycotting.
I didn't get a chance to respond.
Yeah, you told me in a text you said, I'm boycotting JBP.
I mean, you know what? No.
In the text between y'all two, not in the group chat.
Okay. That was right when, I think it was right when I heard Rory and Mal's rebuttal.
Yeah.
So it was the first one was, are we?
Okay.
And then I think I hit you and I was like, oh yeah, fuck Joe Budden. And then you see Joe and he's like putting his side and I'm like, now I don't know what to think.
And that's okay.
Now I want to see the P&L.
No, it's okay.
I want to see the balance sheet.
Yeah.
This is what we know. They felt, so you got to take this off the table. Those two, Rory and Mal, felt they didn't think he was stealing from them. They made that clear. They just wanted to see
the numbers.
Okay, so we have to take he's stealing from them off the table because the guys took it off the table, right?
Yeah, I never felt that he was stealing from them either.
I wouldn't take it off the table. I think it's off to the side of the table.
Okay.
Because
fair.
The numbers have to come for you to determine yes or no.
Because they're percentage owner partners.
But the friendship
or employees, whatever, how you want to label it.
But the friendship character allowed them to even put it off to the side of the table, right? If you weren't friends, like, no.
I need to see the number. Yeah, I need to see the numbers every whatever amount of time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what we also gathered is that when numbers get brought up, when accounting gets brought up, Joe freaks out and he just shuts down and he wants to fight. No, he doesn't want to fight, but he gets argumentative.
Yep.
So there's something psychological there. I don't know if he had like his money taken away as a child or he's just, maybe it's being in the industry. You don't trust people and you want to keep what you have close by. But all that was the ultimate fate of breaking everything up because he would freak out every time they asked for it. I believe everything these guys are saying about Joe. I think this dude's fucking crazy.
We've always thought that. We just felt like, oh, he's finally got some friends who like,
who humble his ass.
Who like not only humble him, but like also like just get him and like, fuck it, we're not.
And they're gonna hold him to it.
Yeah.
Like, yo, no, don't do that, Joe. And then they'll call him out on it, right? But I still think, so what I like about Joe. So you have someone like Donald Trump who will stand by his guns of being a liar and being X, Y, and Z, which is ultimately, deny, double, like, I don't know, 1,000,000 time double down, whatever that adds up to, whatever that word is. And I think to some degree, Joe's like, you're right, I fucked up. I shouldn't. When Ish said, you shouldn't have called Rory and yelled at him, he was like, you're right, I fucked up. So that to me keeps Joe bearable and keeps me interested in still listening to what he has to say. Because you put that craziness aside, or you put that selfishness aside, this dude is still highly entertaining. He kicks knowledge. I still feel value in listening to him. What hurts me, obviously it hurts to see those guys disconnect from each other. But now us as a community, it was fun knowing that Rel tuned in. And you tuned in, and Sean tuned in. And whenever you wanted to reach for a Joe Budden joke, ta-da, we all were on the same page.
Same page.
Now, if I go something like ta-da, you're going to be like,
nah, fuck that nigga.
Yeah. And you're going to be like, I just haven't had time. I'm still boycotting. I don't know, whatever.
Still protest. I listened to the last episode. Mm-hmm. And like, that's the part where it's just like, bro, this motherfucker's toxic. Like, it's like you can't be like, you can't say like, he went on live and shitted on him. And like
Instagram Live?
Yeah, he's like, nobody stole 400,000. Yeah. Nobody did this. Nobody. I'm like, he's like the accountant. And he like goes crazy. And then of course, yeah, you get to sleep on it. You haven't been drinking. You're a little fresh minded now. You get to sit on front of the camera. You got PR team. Like now you're like, okay, yeah, I messed up. I could have done this better. Like,
but see, all that, and I understand that, and that's what just to me, I get it. It shows that Joe's human. But I'm like, are you just doing that to show face on front of the camera, or are you actually sitting down with your boys and saying, "Yo, I fucked up. Yeah. My bad. Right. How can we resolve this?" Right. You know what I'm saying? Even regardless of what the direction of the podcast we go, regardless if we decide we're still going to separate and go our own ways and not do the podcast together, how can, as friends and business partners, how can we resolve this issue? Because I did fuck up. I didn't show you the numbers, blah, 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 whatever the scenario is. So that's why I kind of took that shit with like, is he doing this shit just to kind of show face? And I get it. Like you said, we're, as consumers, we're invested into this. So we want to know what the fuck happened, right? Mm-hmm. So I get that he has to a certain extent, express what the fuck is going on, or at least express from his perspective what is going on, just like we listened to the Mal and Rory response to all of it, to hear what their side was. So it was hard for me to be like, I got it and I appreciated that he did that, but I was still like, nah, I don't trust him. I mean, again, and that's my own thing.
How many times are you gonna hurt Rel?
Yeah, I got trust issues, so I'm like, I don't trust this motherfucker. Like, I don't know it. Again, to your point, I think Joe has some really good insight. He does give off some great information about certain topics, et cetera, et cetera. I personally don't want to watch the podcast because I appreciated the dynamic between the three or the four of them with Parks. Yeah. And that was my thing. Like, I appreciated that a Rory or a Mal would not just yes Joe. Right. You get what I'm saying? Him being obviously the head, the Joe Budden Podcast or whatever, they were just like, nah, nigga, you're wrong, or you fucking up, or I don't agree with that, or whatever. Like, I appreciated that. As opposed to just having some, two cats or whatever that just always agree with him and being like, and just adding on. I'm like, nah, play devil's advocate here and there or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, that's just my whole thing. Part of me thinks that, and at the same time, part of me thinks that Rory and Mal were kind of being little bitches about it to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's.
What would you say?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I agree. There was no reason for. There was no reason if the timeline, the way if the timeline follows the way they said it, right? Joe said to Mal when he asked what's the situation with Rory or whatever, about the podcast, he said it's none of your business.
Oh,
that's fucked up. But Joe also said
horrible.
It was horrible, right? But Joe also said after he had texted Rory the stupid shit that he had texted him about, yo, you should take some days off, whatever, don't come in, whatever. And he reached out to Mal saying, yo, we need to talk. Let's chop it up. And Mal said, cool, I'm going to come through, and never came through. Days went by. So the next time he saw Mal was at the podcast, and he was like, yo, I've been trying to get in touch with you or try to link up with you the last couple of days, the last week. And, you said you would do it and you didn't show up. So I feel like in that scenario, Joe probably had every right to say, it's none of your business at this point, because I tried to reach out to you and explain shit what was going on, but you didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? So they both made points. They both had respective arguments.
Joe went on that pod and said that he didn't owe them any more respect than anybody else.
Yeah, and that's where he fucked up. That's crazy because of the way he handled it.
He was talking crazy.
He was, and I get that. It's male. It's like what Mal was saying. It's male pride. It's all that shit coming into play, whatever, as opposed to just putting that shit aside, saying, yo, we're boys.
Yeah.
Fuck all the money, the business, the percentage, whatever. Fuck all that shit. We're boys. You at least owe us the respect to come to us and being like, yo, here's the situation. Here's how I'm feeling about X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Let's have a fucking conversation.
Yeah.
Let's settle that. And then we can talk about the numbers.
Yeah.
Right? And go from there. That's how I felt it should have been all handled. Yeah, and I think that's what Mal was trying to say.
And then Joe freaking out on Rory because Rory talked to Ian about it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Joe, like, you shouldn't be talking to Rory. Let the lawyers talk, or let the managers talk or whoever, but you yelling at Rory Like, you just stepped over your manager. You just, like, you're not saying you did your manager's job, because that wouldn't have been the job to do, but you lost trust in the situation.
All I know is Rory's a pretty intelligent guy, and I would take him to not misunderstand balance sheet or a P&L. And if there was an issue, typically those issues are like resolved. Joe triple downs on there isn't a mistake. So, and the fact that, like, okay, similarly to them, right? We're all in a profit share situation with our IP and our podcast, and anything MikiDZ does, it gets broken down the same way, percentage wise, right? And so I would think that if I got you a deal, or if I got the pod a deal, if you got the pod a deal, if you got the pod a deal, like, we would, obviously, I would show you all the paperwork, I would think. What if I said, yo, this brand wants to pay us $4,000 a month, and that's it. You take my word on some homie shit.
Yeah.
But for me, on some, like, transparent, I'm not doing nothing, here's the paperwork, because it helps.
Yeah.
Right? Because it helps not have a question. Because, and let me paint this picture. Maybe I'm trying to also still, like, help Joe's persona out. What I can see as an issue is somebody comes in, they say, yo, Mickey, we want to pay you $10,000 a month to represent our brand, but we want presence in Mag, we want presence in the MikiDZ show, we want presence in whatever you do, right? We want personal, we want Mag Park, and we want this. So then I'd be put in a position where it's like, how do I break that down?
Yeah, because everyone is its own entity. So
everybody's its own entity.
Different values.
Mag has a different cut. I would presume Mag Park's got the biggest brand. I would have the second biggest brand, and then MikiDZ show. But then who am I to say, like, okay, out of that 10K, but they get placement, and I come at you guys and I'm like, oh yeah, out of the 10K, you guys get $500.
Yeah.
Like, just to make it spicy, like, to I think that would be disrespectful.
But what I'm saying is, if that's the case, I just need to see the breakdown. And if you're saying this is how it's broken down,
right? There's some logic.
If there's some logic to it, then I'm like, all right, cool.
See, I respect that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not mad at it. But then if you're like, nah, that's just what it is, I'm not gonna you won't understand.
Yeah.
The fuck you mean I won't understand?
Right.
Yeah, I know how to read a fucking spreadsheet. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, nah, just show me the fucking numbers and make it make sense.
Because I'm just assuming, right, like the Cash App deal for them.
Yeah.
They do not only the JBP, but they also do the, whatever his other shit's called, the fucking
pull up.
The pull up. I was going to say the jump off. The pull up. So the pull up.
No jumper?
Yeah. So the pull up, that's funny, actually. Mid-range. So the pull up, I believe, if I'm not misunderstanding, the Cash App deal pays for the pull up and for the JBP. But I'm assuming the way the deal is structured is that it's a deal with the Joe Budden network and not directly with each entity, right? Because it's less paperwork if you just do the deal with a JBN, and then he'll determine where that money goes.
Yeah.
But then he's also allowed to generate and create expenses on top of everything. And then there's podcasts with him like openly talking about adding expenses. And there's like have you guys gotten into any of the conspiracy theories? Bruh. There's like one where like they're saying that Joe Budden bought Park's new house and put it as an expense.
Wow.
For the pod. And then that's why there's all this money that didn't make it out. Again, conspiracy theory.
Again, but I guess from the naked eye, or the, looking from the outside in, that would kind of make sense. Parks is not really going against Joe. Joe's like, Parks is like, I got to make this money. I just bought a new fucking house. Like,
but on that same token, Parks doesn't sound like he's defending Joe
100%,
and he doesn't sound like he's like struggling to like he's just like, you take Parks for what he is, just a regular dude, laid back, going with the flow. That's it. That's how I take Parks. He goes with the flow. He goes with logic, and he apparently thinks what Joe is doing. He probably doesn't agree with how he's handling it, but he still wants to do the show. So he's going to continue to roll with Joe and do that. I don't know. That's an interesting theory. That's kind of crazy.
Everybody on the pod, Parks, and I say this with the utmost respect, is the most replaceable if you line them up.
And that's why he's playing his cards right.
Or is he, because he does all of the audio stuff and then he does.
You know how much cheaper you could get that for?
And he does the audio stuff for the other shows.
Again, now is he getting a percentage more because he's physically on the show? He has a mic. So cool, we can take the mic away from his ass and just be like, this is what we're gonna pay you. We could pay you a flat fee for doing all the post work.
Yeah. And you're using his house. Like, now you have to go get a studio. I'm just trying to think of ways to just
keep Parks involved.
To defend Parks.
It's because you do the audio for us.
No, not at all. It has nothing to do with that. But to Maul's point, he says Parks was underpaid. And you got him working like a machine. So you're gonna find someone to replace that, where you have
someone that was doing everything.
Someone to bounce off things with Joe.
I can't trust Joe anyway.
And do audio with Joe.
But my thing, if I'm Parks,
maybe right, Biden too.
If I'm Parks,
the way things are
and
going.
I see how the situation is handled, how a situation was handled with Joe and some of my co-workers, right? And these co-workers are Joe's good friends.
Yeah,
he was roommates with Maul. Mickey and I were roommates at one point. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like they built that. If I can see how he handles that. Am I looking at this, to Mickey's point, like he's the one that is the most replaceable? How am I looking at that situation? Am I like, damn, do I want to continue doing this, knowing that any day now I can probably be kicked out of the door, even though this is my house, even though I'm doing all the audio, even though, like, you saying, like, if I'm Parks, how am I looking at this situation right now? You know what I'm saying? How am I going to play my cards? I'm a little fucking nervous. I'm not going to lie. If I'm Parks, I'm fucking scared because he just, whatever his boys who had, and now granted, I'm not saying Parks doesn't, I don't know what the numbers are. I don't know if Parks is a percentage,
right,
owner or whatever you want to call it, as Maul and Rory were.
Yeah.
So again, regardless if I am or am I not, if they had issues getting the numbers, how do I know I'm getting what I'm supposed to be getting? Or, you know what I'm saying? Now I get that I'm comfortable getting what I'm getting, but at some point,
this is where I disagree with you, because Rory and Maul were so close to Joe. It's like our friendships. We've been friends for over 10 years, and there's still things that bug us about each other from 10 years ago that just pop up in our emotions. And because that popped up, it guides how we're going to act with each other every once in a while. It doesn't happen often, but every once in a while it happens. Parks doesn't have that relationship with Joe.
Exactly.
But Rory and Maul do. So if I'm Parks, I'm thinking this is bigger and goes longer and deeper than what I have with Joe. With Joe, it's always been engineer my stuff, and we're friends. But Maul and Joe live together, so they got on each other's nerves, and some of that stuck around. Thankfully, for the most part, it was the good stuff that kept them so close up until recently. I think so. That's why Parks says in regards to Maul, Parks can say, well, they have a different dynamic to their relationship, and that's why they're always at each other's throat. In regards to Rory, I think Rory grew up a fan of Joe and probably looked up to him, and then became cool with him, and then because of Joe's decisions and demons inside, Rory has been disappointed from Joe and has been let down. I've seen it happen with people that work for Fu, and now they're just like, whatever with that dude, because they're hurt, because that dude, because of his decisions and who he really is, had broke their heart, but they still cool with him.
Yeah.
I think that's a different dynamic of their relationship than what Parks and Joe have. So those two situations are different than what Parks. And that's why Parks is just like, yo, like, our relationship isn't that intense. We get along, we keep it light. I think Parks is really good at keeping it light. Come over, I'll cook for you. We'll talk about the Bills or the Dolphins or whatever, and we'll keep it light. With Rory and Mal, it's always like a challenging, like, you're not going to get this one up on me, Joe. Like, you're not going to do that to me. I'm gonna trump you with this one. And then it's just that ongoing battle. Yeah,
and that's the dynamic of their relationship. But and again, to your point, I think because if I'm Parks and I'm looking at that, like you said, the dynamic of their relationship obviously is more, there's more of a bond there, right? Regardless of what the dynamic of the relationship, there's more of a bond there. So I'm looking at it as if he can't, with someone that he has a stronger bond with, if he can't set aside the emotional aspect of it and handle what the business part of it, because at the end of the day, it was all about the numbers. Like, yo, we couldn't get the numbers, whatever. They dealt with Joe's personality. Yeah. And vice versa. Joe dealt with their personality, regardless of what it is. Regardless if Joe was saying some foul shit to Rory about his relationship with his fiance, or who knows if they even together anymore. And I thought, like, there was some times where I felt like that's uncalled for. Yo, you don't need to be bringing personal shit on the show like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't set aside that and figure out, all right, yo, this is the business of it, bring some logic to it, and then make us understand, cool, I can deal with your personality. Like you said, we got decades of shit that happened decades ago that it will pop up on our personality from time to time, but we know that's what it is, and we can go, all right, we can take a day or two away from each other, come back to it, revisit, have a conversation, and move forward, because we got money to go get. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm Parks, I'm looking at that like, damn, this nigga couldn't even handle that. They couldn't handle that shit. Now they fucking up the money. Like, I'm a little nervous. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying if I'm Parks, I'm a little nervous. I get that. And I'm walking on eggshells on how I'm moving forward with Joe, because I don't know how Joe is going to create. One day he could wake up and be like, fuck Parks. Like, get him the fuck up out of here. Like, I don't want no more white dudes on my show.
I think the common denominator,
right? You know what I'm saying? Like, he could have that moment. You know what I'm saying? Sure.
I think the common denominator with all of them, and then I got nothing else to say after this, is it seems, I don't know anything, but it seems like at one point in his relationship with all of those guys, they've wanted to help. Parks being an engineer, Mal being like the guy introducing and cleaning up some messes. Mm-hmm. Rory with music, and then Ice and Ish and their whatever they were doing. But it seems like you have this big, lovable personality. Like, the dude is charming as fuck, right? Joe. Yeah. He's charming. He knows how to pull from people. He knows how to get the most out of you to get you feeling good, and to get into bullshit with you and to fuck around with you. So he has that skill and that talent. But if you're Mal or any of those guys, you see a broken dude. Yeah. And you see a lovable guy. Naturally, you want to help a lovable guy. And Joe continued to just hurt them. And I think it was just up. Time was up. Rory and Mal like, yo, I'm done with you. Like, we can be cool from a distance, but we can't do anything else outside of a light conversation. Yeah. Because I've washed my hands with you. Like, how many more people are you going to bring? And that's what happens with people like Joe. They continue to bring guys around them that I think they want to help them. They love because they're so lovable, and they continue to do it until they're just completely hurt and broken from the dude.
Yeah. I mean, I hope they're able to resolve their issues on a friendship level. Fuck the money and all that shit. Like, if they don't do that, I hope that, because they are role models, regardless if they like it or not. They're people who look at them and they look at their, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all just agree. Like, we watch the show because of the dynamic of their friendship. So I hope they're able to resolve all the issues on that aspect of it. So, you know, it is what it is.
I think it's just an interesting stat that where their contract, I believe, was coming up, and then there was something said like, "Oh,
it's a publicity stunt."
Ish and Ice
are cheaper.
Cost the same as, or they're cheaper than the one of them.
Yeah. That's what Mal said,
which is crazy. So,
and you notice Cash App hasn't been on any of the least recent episodes. They haven't a shout out Cash App. Joe hasn't.
Is the logo on the YouTube?
I don't know. I don't watch it on YouTube, but typically they shout it out at the beginning. Ever since Rory and Mal left.
The last episode that I watched, because it was after Rory and Mal had put out their response to the whole situation, and then Joe said something afterwards, which I only watched probably maybe like an hour of it. It was basically just Joe taking responsibility and acknowledging it. Yeah. I did see the Cash App logo. Oh, they didn't mention it.
Yeah.
I don't recall them mentioning it. I could have been missing it or whatever. But I do remember seeing the logo.
See? Fumbling the bag.
It's crazy that Cash App is paying just as much, if not a little bit more, than whatever their deal with Spotify
was.
That was
because I was always curious. We still don't know what the Spotify deal was, right? But still,
just Rory Mal.
Exactly.
Ta-da! All right, moving on. Globalization.
Yeah,
shout out to Justin Nice. He gave us a great set, and then after him was Night Train, Young Train, showing his versatility. Both sets were dope. Make sure you check those out on our Mixcloud. This week we have Omar XV, our guy. Thanks for the invite, right?
TFTI.
Mm-hmm.
.LA.
Did he say when he's going to start that party again?
Nope.
All right. Well, he throws an awesome party called TFTI.
He'll give us an invite.
Hey. So he's up this week.
Shout out to excuse me, not to cut you off, but DJ Andre 905.
Yeah.
He definitely hit me up because we recently did mixes.
We did the Momentum mix.
Yeah, we did the mixes out there in Toronto's 105.5 The Vibe, right?
Like
Something like that. Excuse me if I'm
shout out to Gio.
Yeah, shout out to those guys.
Andre, my fault, man. I owe you a reply.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, trust me. I don't know if he showed you the details.
I wasn't mentally prepared to write back at that moment.
Oh, it's quick, 20-minute mix. Like, okay. I was able to knock it out quick. But shout out to him because he hit me up and he was like, "Yo, as soon as the borders are open, I'm booking the three of you guys to come out to Toronto." So,
oh shit, I got my mix on the way.
Yeah, right.
Shit.
Right. He's like,
you know what? Let me check that link. I thought it was in the cloud.
Yeah. So I told him, hell yeah, we're ready. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah.
You should have heard me last night. Tell this guy, hey, I owe you a mix, huh? and he goes, oh, let me check the calendar. Oh, yeah? It's true.
I said the calendar says that you do owe me a mix.
Yeah. But then I was like, I don't have the playlist in my inbox. We're all been busy.
Oh, the playlist. Oh, you would have done it without the playlist.
Yeah, I'd do it anyway.
Yeah. Oh, and then we won't, because we're recording every other week. After Omar is DJ Polar.
Mm-hmm.
So, be on the lookout for his mix as well.
Yes, sir.
The week after. And that is it for us.
Real quick. Hat I'm wearing, Kill the Hype, Mag Park. By the time you guys hear this, I would have dropped 36 of them tonight for my birthday.
Mickey's birthday.
We ain't talk about Mickey's birthday?
No, and I kept telling myself, mix it in there. I should have wrote it down.
No. It's okay.
We're going to do a special pod.
We're going to talk about it when we come back. Yeah.
It's nothing to talk about. 36. So I'm dropping 36 hats tonight. You guys won't have seen it, but please go check out. Please text 81000 and that's how you're going to be able to buy some of our exclusive hats.
The Kith joint is in there?
Huh?
The Kith collab is in that one?
The KTH?
Yeah.
This one? Yeah, that's the one we're dropping tonight.
Oh, that's the Kith one.
What's that Kith? It's Kill the Hype. But it's
KTH. It's KTH. That's what it is. Because I keep seeing KTH.
Yeah.
And I automatically
I can see how somebody would say
Kith. And I was like, oh shit, he got a collab with Kith.
I thought I heard other people call it Kith too. That's why I just...
Yeah, it's KTH.
That's what Rory calls it, right?
Kill the Hype. No, Kith is Kith.
Yeah, Rory was probably talking about
Gotcha, two different brands.
Yeah. Take out the I. KTH, and then LA. Kill the Hype.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I saw, when I thought it was Kith, I was like, oh shit.
That's what I said. I'm copying that. I was like, okay.
What else are you getting from him?
I'd argue Kill the Hype's bigger than Kith, but
I'm sure
we could say that. But yeah, we'll drop that. But just, future releases, keep an eye out. It's something exciting that we're working with.
Dope.
So
be on the line tonight.
I think I'll get one. I don't have any traditional LA anything. I don't have a Dodger jersey. I don't wear anything that's Dodger blue.
Your mom actually,
I'm like the biggest fan.
Your mom came and checked me because the logo is upside down. Oh, and she goes, hey, what's up with that hat?
I'm sorry.
She came out. I was like, oh, it's respectful.
Yeah.
On behalf of the company, Mrs. Hample, I want to apologize. First off. Second, this is what the kids are doing now. Just roll with it. Trust me.
Trust me.
Yeah, because in her day, if you hung the American flag upside down,
they hung like you rebellious. Upside down. Yeah.
You're being rebellious. Right.
Right. I think that's still a bad thing.
Still a thing?
Yeah, I think that's still a thing.
I think it's more of like a...
Yeah, but the LA upside down, or the logo is upside down. It's like it's a fashion statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway.
All right, yeah. All right, we're out of here. Episode 90 in the bag.
Yes, sir.